Back once again with some more action from the North American SPL. Week 7 continues. We saw the very first game of this week between Allegiance and Eager. Nice, exciting things there. Hopefully your FP is still intact so far this week. However, we now go into SoaR versus Randozos here, Toli. What's your expectations?
I expect some good, aggressive action, both of the junglers, Homiefe and Skeeledon. They like these fast, aggressive gods. So I could expect to see Mercury.
And talking about jungle, what's important in the jungle now with the speed buff now coming back into the meta, well, into the game? It's the best way of putting it. What expectations do you expect from junglers? Are we going to see a sort of switch to different gods being played?
Definitely more different gods. Specifically, we saw Circad on DJ Pernicus. We also saw Basset. So a lot of mobility gods. You have to have gods that have those escapes necessary in the early game. We saw Lassus. He picked Thanatos, which is good early game, but he doesn't have the escape. He got first blood earlier on in game number 2, but he did invest into a red pot, so that kind of cost him a little bit. So you have to have a jungler with an escape, and it also opens up the doors for different strategy openings, whether you want to do speed blue and then kind of camp the solo lane, whether or not you go to Fire Giant Imps to then gank again at level 3, or whether or not you want to assist the mid lane.
I know the fans at home, all they generally do is tune in for the very first weeks of these sort of meta changes to see what the pros are doing. Well, we should be shortly ready for picks and bans too. And with this, we're going to see Enemy, who Randozos, who currently, they lost to SoaR 2A recently, did split with Envy, however, which is a good little sign for them. But then across the way, SoaR themselves, Enemy and Randozos they defeated there. Let's see though, game 1, picks and bans are now ready.
Polymer Mike looks for the taunt. He's going to find it on Farizio.
Oh,
nice
wow.
Gap shield. Farizio forced to beats, makes it over the wall. Oh! Scary D snipes him out.
Really impressive. Scary D blind shot over the wall.
You stand against the wall and you see Skeeledon bring minions towards the wall.
Whalrus turning up this match. First blood on Divios. Looks like they're falling apart. Divion got a cataclysm. And the time you must off.
Okay, Tolly, talk to me. We're in picks and bans. What are you expecting to see not involved in this game?
I don't expect Janus to be picked by Randozos because I expect SoaR to ban it away. So the way Aduro plays Janus is very comfortable. SoaR should have done their homework and see that. And also the last series that they had against Enemy, the way Chaos played Janus, I don't think SoaR wants to deal with it anymore. Right away, Randozos recognized Homiefe loves the Outquang, so that's not on the table. SoaR going to respond with a Zeus ban.
So Zeus, and then is a Sol. So Mercury's still available right now, and you've been talking a lot about Mercury potentially coming back in with the item changes and the meta with the speed buff now being back. SoaR, though, have their last pick ban away. It will be Isis, who we were talking about behind stage, weren't we, about Isis? Will we see her come back to fruition in the mid lane?
So Isis early game, especially if you go Soulstone Power Pot and you have an aggressive jungler on top, you can get a good snowball going. So SoaR wants to make sure that Randozos doesn't have that early game strategy, taking away the Isis. Hurriwind's god pool is very massive, not afraid to play such as Ullr, so they're just going to ban away Isis. Randozos responding with the Raijin first pick.
Yeah, Duro going to be taking Raijin into the mid lane more than likely here. So SoaR going to have an option of 2 picks. They're going to go for Sobek, for Jigz more than likely, unless will we see that in the solo lane so early?
It's possible to start running Guardians in the solo lane. It's a little bit risky early on in the meta while teams are still trying to figure out their stride. So I'd more than likely see it on Jigz, and definitely Homiefe picking up the Thor, something he's very comfortable with. So solid 2 picks out of SoaR. And also, well, now that Thor's off, I was going to say Willich could be played with Sobek, but now that the Thor is there, that's not a possibility.
Unless you're going to see Thor in the solo lane? No?
It's possible. I haven't really seen Baskin do it. Other solo laners have experimented with it in ranked. Randozos picking up Athena, however.
Yeah, Athena for a little bit of global presence to answer back to these Thor opportunities of ganks and rotations. So that'll be a nice, easy one there for Leftsyndrome, as well as Ho-Yi locked in. What are the go-to for the Randozos boys here?
Hou-Yi, very strong in early laning phase, a lot of boxing potential, whether or not you want to go Transcendence for the sustain or the Throwing Dagger for the pushing potential. It's going to make it very scary. And now SoaR, recognizing that the Janus is available, they're going to take it. Now they have a lot of global pressure with the Thor and the Janus. If any lane gets pressured, they can easily dart on over there.
And not just even in the lanes, technically the jungle too. Speed buff invades, red buff invades, blue buff invades, potentially from this mid lane jungle composition. Humbat's taken away by
So
SoaR.
what's good about the Janus also in this change is if you ever decide that you get a little bit of a lead and you want to extend to try to invade the enemy speed, Janus can bail out the Thor with a portal. whether it's an ultimate portals or just even a threshold or a normal portal. So I like the Janus pick. Responding Randozos with the Apollo and the Xbalanque band. A lot of hunters off the table for SoaR.
And so they still need a hunter for themselves, and probably a solo lane will be less for last pick for Baskin. Potentially, unless we do see something crazy shenanigans coming out from these two teams. So expect to see a hunter picked up here. Probably see an Anher, or no, it's going to be Artemis.
They're leaning a little bit towards the late game in the hunter position. Sobek has a lot of good CC control. You got the global pressure from the Thor and the Janus. Good long range setup as well. So having that Artemis in the backline while your Thor and the Sobek goes in is nice. Also, SoaR with the last pick allows them to have a counter matchup. Xing Chen being picked up for Randozos. It looks like they do their homework, because Xing Chen is very favored by Baskin back in the day.
Back in the day, but now Xing Chen technically back amongst the pigeons in terms of picks for the solo lane now. The Raw did get a little bit of a buff to it. Now with his root back available on his knockup, his ultimate took a little bit of a hit, however, but still Randozos recognizing it's still viable.
And we have the old two gods in the solo lane matchup back in Worlds. Bellona for SoaR, Xing Chen for Randozos. This is bringing it back to Worlds.
The memories have come flooding back from the Worlds. Fenrir was locked in more than likely for the jungle for Randozos. Can Randozos continue winning ways? They took a game of Envy. Can they do the same against SoaR?
It's going to force Jigz under the tower. Doesn't get any stuns, but we don't need stuns. We've got damage. Hurriwind catches 2 in the current.
Andy coming back in, looking for the Feather Step. Immediately Eagles rally. Andy will not get the kill. Baskin survives, and now they're diving for Baskin potentially hit. But Blink for Pinham, and they're trying to force this enemy. This is a mistake because Homiefe double kill. Well, there you go. You got a little sight, and here is Whalrus in the solo lane this time around. Gone with a Vanguard start into boots as well. This is sort of what we saw out of these solo lane Guardians back in last season.
It's a very safe strategy to do, especially when you apply the damage over time to the enemy solo laner. You're going to take consistent minion aggro, so you prevent taking as much damage by going the Mark of the Vanguard. You have that 5 damage reduction per hit. It allows you to tank the archers and the rest of the lane very efficiently. Looking at the hunters, they both elected to go for Throwing Dagger, favoring the Artemis a little bit because of her passive getting that 5% crit per stack. Hui, however, going to lean more towards his Ricochet for the clear.
And the big question is, where is everybody going to start at the beginning of the game? Because at the moment, we've got a wall placed down by Randozos deep at the speed buff. And I want to see what SoaR choose to do here, because obviously with Bellona and Thor, you should be looking to invade a Xing Chen Fenrir.
It's very easy to invade Guardians at the beginning of the game, but at the same time, it's a strategy that's known since the past that Guardians are very likely to be invaded. So because of that ward spotting them out at the speed, they can see if that's a strategy that SoaR is doing. But it looks like SoaR is going to start at the blue. Now, if they do blue to speed, this is going to allow Homiefe to rotate to the mid lane shortly after, electing to go for one of those mid Harpies.
Well, Randozos start the left-hand Harpies, transition to the red on the left-hand side. SoaR take their blue buff, then go straight to the speed buff. Meanwhile, the respectable jungler and solo of Randozos have just done speed into blue so far. So where's the benefit from this, what SoaR's doing here on that right-hand side?
It's going to allow the Thor to group up with the Janus to contest the right side mid Harpies. You don't want to leave one side of the Harpies uncontested for too long, because the time disparity between one and the other is going to be too far different, so you have to have them both on lockdown. It looks like SoaR's going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, Randozos are the ones that are going to come up big with this sort of start here, because they didn't recognize SoaR that the left-hand Harpies would take in the beginning of the game.
They didn't even ward a single time. A little bit of lack of respect out of SoaR, I would say, not electing to ward those mid Harpies just to see how Randozos would start.
So there's an advantage in mid lane for Randozos. However, solo lane, Baskin did manage to get some pressure. Oh, the crash was good there! And Skeeledon's actually going to pick up first blood. Surprising, that was so quick. The burst was amazing.
What's interesting is that SoaR banned away Isis because they were afraid of the early game, but right there, the Fenrir and the Raijin does the same exact thing. They recognize the kill potential. They took full advantage after the stun.
So early on, first blood for the way of Randozos goes over to Skeeledon on that Fenrir, and we mentioned in the jungle that we may see some more picks come out. Well, Fenrir, Thor kind of standard for this season already.
Yeah, and we do have the Fenrir with the red pot, the Raijin with the purple pot. So it's a strategy that Randozos wants to do. They got the left side mid Harpies, they got the right side mid Harpies. They were level 3 during that engagement as well. So having that level 2. Ooh.
The crit comes out from Metyankey then. It was enough to bring down Leftsyndrome with a couple more basics. Nice little tail whip coming out from Jigz to keep him in position.
And this is really important for the Artemis to get a good start in the early game to transition better in the mid to late game. If you get there first, as an Artemis especially, then you start controlling those Gold Furies. You get your team further ahead as well.
Well, surprisingly enough, I've not actually seen Randozos do those back right and harpies yet since they've been spawned in this game. They've been focusing on mid lane a lot, with the jungler and middle still sticking together, very similar to what we've seen so far this season.
Which is fine to leave the back harpies up, because you can always grab that later. If there's something more important on the jungle for you to take, or whether it's to put pressure on one side, then it's fine, because your solo laner could potentially get those back harpies later on.
And Skeeledon now, level 5, just hit off those back harpies, going to be looking towards Baskin almost immediately here. Going to see those imps are down. A little bit of time left, about another minute I'd say, until the blue buff does spawn on this right-hand side. So keep an eye on that as Baskin is being looked at by Skeely, but Skeely recognizes he's not going to find anything. It's just soak a bit of experience.
Baskin very respectful of Skeeledon MIA in the presence in the jungle, just elected not even to contest the wave. SoaR recognizing that the imps are about to spawn. It's very valuable right now, considering the fact that the 30 gold
Wow,
per minion.
Jigz gets a kill on Meerkat, another combination of SoaR working out over in the duo lane. But talk to me a little bit more of the fire imps here. How important are they? Because they only spawn for the first 10 minutes of the game, right?
Yes, but with the gold increase from 15 per fire giant imp to 30 per fire giant imp, it's very important to get that consistently, especially the fact that they will despawn after fire giant spawns at the 10-minute mark.
Well, left-hand harpies have spawned again, but this time it's going to be SoaR in position to take them away. Duo lane is having a very hard time from Randozos here with this Hoyi Athena coming up against the Artemis Sobek. No ganks from either team to this lane. It's just straight up 2v2 fighting.
It's because the passive of the Artemis allows her more efficiently to clear without using mana in this situation. So that's why they've been able to outclear during the wave. They get a minion advantage, and then they look to play aggressive with the Sobek pluck and to just constant poking. And then eventually, if you do that consistently for 2 to 3 waves, that damage adds up and eventually to a kill.
Well, great little play coming out from Randozos. A speed buff invade works out for them on this right-hand side. Baskin was aware of it, but he couldn't get any support from his team. And now Skeeledon also going to strip away the blue buff from SoaR's jungle as well.
This is very uncharacteristic for SoaR to get invaded upon like this. Randozos doing a beautiful job recognizing that the Thor wasn't available. Baskin was playing very aggressive in the solo lane, completely unaware of the situation. There is no wards on the minimap for SoaR to spot it. However, they got left side mid harpies earlier, SoaR, and now they got right sides as well. If SoaR can capitalize by stealing the enemy speed and blue, then they're all even.
Well, look at this. We're going to see a fight of that. Blue's already gone down for Randozos. Taunt from Syndrome's going to buy a moment for Whalrus to channel that ult, but immediately purification from Homiefe, followed by a double tap. Syndrome a little bit isolated there, but just gets the gap through the wall. Speed buff is available for SoaR to try and steal. Adoro trying to defend this one down. We'll see which way it goes, and it goes the way of SoaR.
So SoaR picks up the enemy speed. However, they lost their own speed and their blue, so favoring Randozos a little bit.
Beautiful pickup of Homiefe there coming out from Skeeledon as well. Recognized he used a purification, avoiding Whalrus' ultimate, allowed him to go in with the Ragnarok and find the kill. Randozos are playing very well today.
Even though the timer changed for the Xing ultimate to about 1.25 seconds, sometimes it's better to use the shorter cooldown. The Thor had the option to use his ultimate for the CC immunity instead of using his purification. Instead, he elected to sacrifice it with the purification.
Dora a little bit out of position there, going to get plucked, has to jump away, well, crash away, I should say, back to the safety. It was a nice little combo of pluck into portal.
Adoro very confident, not even panicking to use purification. He recognized there was no threat and danger. The Thor was still dead, so only Janus at level 8 and Sobek at level 7. There was no real kill potential, especially with both their ultimates down.
So far, so good for both these two teams. We go to the graphs here. You will see SoaR have a little bit of an advantage in terms of experience so far. Hang on that thought, Homiefe in the sky. Going to look for Meerkat, but immediately leaps away to safety. Going to go into the jungle looking for safety from teammates, but already the damage is wrecking him. Berserker Barrage picks up the kill.
There was nowhere for him to go. The chase was just too strong. Even though with the missed Tectonic Rift, the Magellan Hammer allowing him to catch up with the Berserker Barrage, securing that kill.
So why are we seeing full golden bow come out here from Metyankey as well, totally? Why has he gone straight into the item?
You get with the recent patch change, you actually get more power out of the golden bow. It increased from 40 to 55, and especially with Artemis getting those crits in hand with her passive, it allows her to do more damage even, especially if a target gets trapped or bored. That allows even more attacks, and also you can't neglect the movement speed that you get. The Artemis gets movement speed off of her second steroid ability, as well as the golden bow.
Well, left up, he's going to be looked at here by Adoro, but he crashes back to safety. A little bit worried about getting plucked by Jigz, who returns to doing the left-hand harpies and picking them up for the side of SoaR again, trying to keep this experience advantage going.
I like the idea that Hurriwind has... Oh, hold up.
Adoro gets plucked into danger. Double tap does hit, forces purification. The tail whip, though, did confirm the extra damage from the unstable vortex, but he will get out of the danger zone just in time through space and time, just a little off the mark.
So the tail whip actually disrupted the escape from Raijin initially, and then he was forced to purify then. However, he during that time, he collected himself a little bit. He realized, okay, I have like about 1 second before I really need to dash, and he used it at the last second. So beautiful play so far out of Adoro. The safety, he recognizes how safe he needs to be.
We'll fire him, spawn, and fall the way of Randozo, so that can one more time goes that way. Does stop spawning at 10 minutes, as we said, so it just gives it a little bit of an advantage on the map if everything's still even at that point.
So far, SoaR has been, other than the first two mid-harpies that spawned, SoaR has gotten the second and the third sets, and they lost their speed and blue earlier on, but they capitalized with another speed. So far, it's not looking too bad for SoaR, as they're actually a little bit ahead.
Well, there's no invade coming out this time from Randozos to the speed and blue buff, and it's actually SoaR on the aggressive here. Double tap hits 2 members. Whalrus pulled into danger, but going to use the ultimate. Immediately avoided by most of the members of Randozos there. Thor in the sky, remember that. Just see if he just choose to come in, because they're looking at the speed.
Now, like I mentioned before, this time he elected to use his ultimate, Anvil of Dawn, instead of the Purification. So now if he gets in trouble, he'll be able to get away from the Fenrir.
Talking about trouble, it's actually Skeeledon who's in a world of hurt there. Has to Ragnarok away to safety. A Syndrome gets hit through the portal on the unstable Vortex wall. On point from Homiefe, and the body blocks keep him pinned in position. You can see Adoro over the wall trying to use the drums of war there to help out his teammate, but it's just too little too late, and the speed buff goes the way of SoaR.
It's so easy to body block when you have a Thor Tectonic Rift like across the one side. You only have to cover a small angle there as they're trying to look to dash into Adoro. Not going to find it.
Just a little bit off the mark there with the wall, trying to cut off the angle on that one, but SoaR continue pushing things forward. Metyankey looking for the aggression on Meerkat here, already forced to leap, and the boar is down. Ricochet off the mark, which means the stun not available. And you actually show the purification from Yankee there as well, just in case he got hit by that stun.
Yeah, he was guaranteed the kill. The jump was down for the Hui. The only possible way that would get stopped was the stun. He knew that was going to happen, so he preemptively purified there. There was nowhere for Meerkat to go.
So what do you want to see coming out of Skeeledon now? Should he be camping this duo lane? Because Artemis is getting dangerously big right now.
Artemis needs to get shut down 100%. I expect this Gold Fury to be started relatively soon by SoaR. They're up about 2,000 gold at the moment. They're going to need to start putting up some wards to start getting even more ahead. So what Randozos has to do is focus this Artemis. With this purification down, Randozo, Skeeledon has to capitalize on that and focus her.
Well, the aim's going down one more time for Skeeledon. That's pretty much going to be the end of his participation on the right side of the map, other than the speed buff when it's going to respawn again. So, see if he does end up focusing towards the dual lane a little bit more. Gold Fury side. Red buff available for him at the moment, but he's not going to be going over to that. Just Adoro there in the wings as well. They were looking to contest. He's left on Harpies.
And now they're not going to be able to because Fenrir doesn't have the speed buff. Leftsyndrome getting a double taunt though.
Going to get some pressure on Jigz, who flips somebody back into the back line though. Through space and time goes off from Hurriwind as Thor now goes to the sky. Skeeledon's in a world of trouble. Jigz gets credit for the kill, and Thor comes crashing down just a little off the mark from Homiefe looking for the pick. And then in the end, they're just going to take the result of a free red buff.
Yeah, 1 for nothing in this situation, grabbing red buff. It's a nice win. Also putting that on the Artemis, that's level 12. 2 levels ahead of the Hui. Hui is going to get poked out, forced it back. This could be a moment in time when SoaR is considering Gold Fury.
Well, the boar is available for Metyankey to try and zone him out. Adoro does have his ultimate available. Keep an eye on Syndrome, though. He's going to have to be the front line. Meerkat's hung around here as well, but you can see the board just zoning him away from contesting that. Anyone walks forward, instant stun, free Gold Fury to SoaR.
Good recognition from Metyankey. Athena recognizes that the board was out. If she dashes in, she's not going to be able to follow up with anything, so the only thing she can get off is the dash taunt. But if she dashed, she was guaranteed dead, so she decided not to engage there.
So where did this lead from SoaR come from? Because we saw Randozos were the first to invade speed and blue and get them as well before you saw an invade come out from SoaR. How has the experience got so far ahead for SoaR?
The difference between the two invades was the fact that it was only Skeeledon that was invading the speed and the blue, whereas there was about 3 to 4 members from SoaR that invaded the speed and the blue. So there was a lot more shared experience, shared gold on the favor of SoaR. Also, the second set and the third set of mid-harpies both went to SoaR.
And he's just starting to get it a little bit too far forward. Leftsyndrome there used his reach advantage to try and look for some extra poke, but missed the taunt because of it. And now the pluck on Skeeledon is going to hit home, and it hits through the through space and time as well. Deletion of the wolf. Adoro crashes into the danger zone looking for extra damage. Going to put out all 3 shots out of the 4 on Homiefe, but the last one does not connect, and Jigz gets himself a double. And now Metyankey rotates in, picks up a kill, and goes onto a killing spree.
SoaR is just feeling themselves right now. Metyankey actually has blink on Artemis.
I was like, I'm not sure if my eyes deceived me then, but that indeed was a blink. Yankee in trouble. Going to use the portal though, given to him by Hurriwind to escape. But Meerkat's here looking for the ricochet shot, not going to find it on Yankee. And you saw the threshold that Hurriwind put down, allowing him to escape.
They definitely like the Janus after they faced enemy. They recognize his strengths. The mobility is really important, especially when you have an Artemis that could potentially get in danger. You allow her to engage with Blink Boar, and then you have a Janus portal just to bail her out if she's ever in a tricky situation.
And now, because of that, SoaR starting to pressure mid lane a little bit, but everyone's going to return back to farming again as Skeeledon does turn back up. These fights have just started to go constantly in SoaR's favor. And to be fair, this is also duo lane making an impact here with the rotations now.
When you're ahead, the whole goal is to stay ahead and find ways. They found the invades, they found the Gold Fury, and now they're extending it by tower diving and escaping with the Janus portals. They're using everything in their arsenal together beautifully. And if SoaR keeps playing like this game could potentially last about 15 more minutes tops.
Well, build options for the Hunters. We mentioned Golden Buff for Artemis. We do also see Meerkat's got the same sort of route there. Double tap does hit Skeeledon in mid, but Leftsyndrome with a very good taunt on Homiefe will buy him a moment to get away from the danger. The trade is even as through space and time's fired out. Skeeledon's going to be very careful here and going to get away, but that portal's going to create an option for Jigz to go through and pick up the kill. Homie's going to take to the sky now, looking for a dunk potentially here onto Meerkat and made the rotation, but instead, he eyes that red buff.
The red buff is a safer option. He's too low to engage back into the fight. Jigz a little low. He's going to take a spill. Good damage coming out of Aduro. We have the Xing ultimate into the tier 1 tower.
Into the damage from Aduro coming out, taunting Metyankey back in, so he will fall down. And so Homiefe there, because he disengaged, I guess the rest of the team's call was go aggressive, and he went for the buff option.
They were just a little bit too far forward. The damage from the Janus was good, and they got an early kill onto Skeeledon. However, they needed to reset, find the red buff, and then just chill out. Unfortunately, Metyankey not having that escape. Also, Janus backed early, so there was no threshold. There was no portals for anyone to go. Baskin a little low here.
Very low here. Whalrus could really feel about diving this. That's why he pops the health potion, going to take the shots, but meditation from Baskin may make Whalrus change his mind about this one now. Still under the tower, taking hits. Needs to be careful of a rotation from Homiefe, as he's now returning back from base, but he should be fine for now.
Yeah, Whalrus doesn't have much mana at all, and he doesn't have the ultimate, so realistically, there's no kill potential for Whalrus.
Nice triple baits from all the teams. Leftsyndrome comes in for Baskin. Baskin going to Eagles rally away. Skeeledon off the mark with the jump in, forced to Ragnarok, but can't find the chomp down on Baskin's face. He will, you know, but now Homiefe's here to trade it out, and it may be a 2-for-1 as Aduro dives the tower helping for the kill, and Hurriwind swings in looking to pick up Whalrus.
Aduro dying here is really unfortunate. Trading 1-for-1 was fine with level 11 Fenrir, but level 15 Baskin.
Great blink, great jump away from Whalrus. Through space and time does hit, but the wall will also connect. Whalrus will fall down. Now he's out of mon and Leftsyndrome. Well, he tried to come in for the rotation, and he should fall here as 3 members of SoaR are here to try and pick him up and cancel him from getting away.
And so far, this is going to be, if they get this kill, it's going to be a 4-for-1. Already a 3-for-1, so that's a very favorable trade for SoaR right now. Can they find another one, or are they just going to reset?
Meerkat's had to rotate all the way over, and by doing that, it does allow Metyankey over in that to the duo lane to take a free tower. He's basically proxy farming the wave now, and that tier 1 tower will fall to left. So overall, SoaR come out on top, not just in kills.
And that's how you know when a team is really far behind, when your hunter is forced to rotate to the soul lane for team fights, and then you lose the tier 1 tower, and now your tier 2 tower is getting pressure at the same time. Your jungler respawning for that. Gold Fury is respawning right now. We do have Metyankey looking for that level 15 Artemis with Itchable finish Golden Bow. Going to be able to shred this very easily with her steroid prop as well.
Yeah, and you can see the solo lane, Xing Whalrus here. He's level 14. There's 3 members of the side of SoaR above him in level. That's the highest level on their team.
Gold Fury very close to being finished. Nobody available from Randozos to even see this coming.
They're going to be taken for free between the two. Nice little combination coming out from Baskin, rotating over here with the teleport, just to make sure they could pick that one up. And obviously, Homiefe sticking around this solo lane just to make sure Whalrus doesn't get any free. Look at the grass, though. That's insane.
So they're up 7,500 gold at the 16-minute mark, but what's more important is the amount of experience that they're had. They're up 11,000 experience. Everybody on SoaR is at least, well, with the exception of Soul Lane, is at least 2 levels ahead on the opposite ends.
Well, just keep an eye on the next Gold Fury coming up again, because that one just went the way of SoaR, and now SoaR just looking to try and find picks here. Whalrus a little bit overextended, looking to invade. Going to have to turn around and use the ultimate. Only going to hit Baskin, and there's one from Leftsyndrome now going to hit onto him as well. 2 members of Randozos trying to protect Whalrus. They've got a rotation coming in with more, but there's also more of SoaR on the way too. Whalrus still trying to get away from the danger. Great ricochet comes out from Meerkat, which hits Baskin so square in the face that he has to use the portal to dip, but Skeeledon, awkward position position for him. They don't recognize that Hurriwind was waiting around the wall there, and there's the unstable vortex that connects to delete him. Homiefe, credit for the kill.
This is not a team fight that Randozos should have been looking to take. They tried to find an early kill into Baskin, but they needed to reset once the Janus portals came out, and they can't overextend. Leftsyndrome gonna get dove. Actually, Adaro gonna get dove under the tier 2
Adaro
tower.
will fall there because he looked to try and get some return damage off Ricochet. Will stop the damage coming out onto him because of the Sanctuary more than anything, but so they're just using the mobility of Hurriwind so well here.
The portals have been very spot on. Thor taking that portal. Jigz being very tanky, just walks out of the tier 2 tower, dashing away as well. This is SoaR's game to close out right now. They're up about 8,000 gold. It's very good.
It's a huge amount. You got chins on Artemis at this point of the game, 17 minutes in, reaching towards that full build and still taking into account that passive of crit. But Baskin and Jigz around the Fire Giant with Hurriwind in support, who's playing the backside so very, very well, of hanging around, setting the team up for potential picks like this one that was onto Leftsyndrome there. Jigz just a little bit off the mark, and Ricochet from Meerkat will hit, but Jigz is still very, very tanky. He's taking a lot to bring him down. He should fall to the tower, though, with the support. No, the tower falls, and actually it ends up forcing Whalrus to trade out, but meanwhile, on the back of that, you also saw Syndrome died.
Baskin dove the backline, wanted to get that tier 2 tower, and now, as a response, Homiefe also finds the kill onto Meerkat.
But these are 4v5s because still, left-hand side, Metyankey split pushing. Hurriwind takes out Whalrus and joins the fight with the through space and time. Skeeledon looking for the return kill, which is all set and good in their favor, but the tier 2 tower in left is still falling while this is going on.
A little overextended was the Janus. He took the portal thinking that the rest of his team would be able to find the kill, but unfortunately for him, the Fenrir damage was just too strong, and now Meerkat still pushing his luck with the Phoenix. Everyone is relatively low level-wise coming out of Randozos, so it's a safe play to even just try to put pressure because that allows Baskin to put pressure on the tier 2 solo side. So even if you might not get the Phoenix, you're going to put pressure on the solo side.
Metyankey 4 levels above his Hunter counterpart here, and he's just been pretty much left over in this lane now because of the pressure that SoaR have had elsewhere. Only tier 2 towers remain mid and right-hand side now for Randozos to look to defend. Both speed buffs available as Baskin is currently stealing away the blue buff on this right-hand side. But in the jungle, Metyankey's having to 2v1 here. The board does connect all three of them, so he does manage to escape the danger zone. And as a meditate comes out from Baskin, they may look to re-engage, but Metyankey's in a world of hurt here. They should have realized how many members of Randozos were around. Homiefe, though, will trade out Adoro and take to the sky, looking to dunk in. The shell's already been popped by Randozos as they try and fall back to safety.
Meerkat jumping into the tower, Skeeledon pulling Baskin into the tier 2 tower. He might take a spell. His ultimate is down. So far, it's a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Randozos.
But now it's going to be even more. There's Meerkat going down to Homiefe, who survived the double tap just about. And this little play from SoaR kind of hurt them a little bit here. Metyankey, a little bit too far forward, I guess. Got caught, but Baskin forced him back into a fight, I feel.
He used his ultimate, he used his purification, he got dove on by the Athena, by Adoro as well. Adoro sacrificing himself at first, I thought it was a little risky play, but the fact that they got 3 out of that was very favorable for Randozos. Now they have to find a way to utilize this advantage and try to get back into the game. Right now, their best target is the tier 1 tower on the solo lane side, get a little bit more gold and alleviate that disparity that they have.
Now, we're not mentioned too much. I mean, Homiefe has been having a good game as we see the Fire Giant started by Randozos here. Looking for this one before I guess Hurriwind uses the ult across. Remember, through space and time is available here, and Jigz with the through space and time as well in tow is going to push Randozos off that opportunity. Was that a desperation
That
play,
was
though?
a very ambitious play out of Randozos. They don't have the necessary burst damage to secure Fire Giant before they get contested. The safer play would have been solo tower.
Well, Whalrus, realizing he was isolated, pushed back into Hurriwind, and he will fall down still. He knew he had Baskin coming around behind him, so he didn't have many options left there of retreat. But now that's a power play in favor once again of SoaR.
And now SoaR has a power play like you mentioned, but the difference is SoaR has the damage capabilities to secure Fire Giant. They have the Artemis level 18. Hurriwind is level 18 as well. Homies, a lot of people are level 18.
A lot of people. And you can see Skeeledon on that red buff on the left-hand side of the map. They know this is going on. They're still trying to farm at the same time. Homiefe goes to the sky with the Thor ult, going to try and create a zone, knowing Meerkat had just used his leap. And Meerkat, well, he's going to use the Sanctuary as well to stay in the sun to keep himself alive for a moment. But Metyankey's in hands will pick him up. His Syndrome is now going to fall to the portal of Hurriwind. Skeeledon finally turns up to the fight. He'll be deleted too, and that should be a fight.
That board just ping-ponged every which way around the team fight. Adoro actually looked to push the tier 1 mid tower. There was a little bit of miscommunication between Adoro and the rest of his team. One side wanted to defend, the other side just wanted to give it up. Whalrus was dead in that situation. Your best bet was to just give it up in a 4v5. SoaR recognized just how far ahead they were. They even had Fire Giant leashed at about 20% health, and then they engaged for a team fight anyway. They were poked out a little bit, but they went all in with a sprint, with a Thor ultimate, and the Artemis board doing really well that team fight.
Well, 10,000 gold speaks for itself in 20 minutes of the game. That's roughly an average of 500 gold advantage per minute in this one. Gold Fury, though, now started by SoaR to extend that lead a little bit more here. Good performance so far from SoaR. Randozos, though, up to a point, they looked pretty strong themselves. They found themselves a couple of kills early on. They put some pressure on in invading the enemy jungle, but SoaR seemed to have all the answers.
It was, like I mentioned earlier on, it was the second and third set of the mid-Harpies that gave them that initial boost, as well as sharing the invade. Skeeledon invaded as well early on, but it was solo invade.
So that experience, and then obviously duo lane, I guess, but he kind of ran away with it for SoaR. Their Jigz and Metyankey just picked up solo kill after solo kill. Well, not solo kill, duo kill after duo kill between those two, just combining so well against the lineup Randozos run.
Especially with an Artemis getting those early kills, that's a huge advantage. And then you have the Janus in the mid lane, allowing the rest of SoaR to play aggressive and bailing them out at the same time. We saw the Artemis blink in the tier 2 mid tower, getting bailed out by that Janus portal.
So,
electing for the Bloodforge, exactly, built on the Artemis.
Cameraman pointed to the Bloodforge here. Is this luxury version for Hunters? This I want to say it is. It's not something we're going to see meta unless you're this far ahead.
I expect Bloodforge to be more favorable towards the junglers. That's where you're more than likely
focused?
Yeah, assassin, jungler focused. However, in this situation with SoaR so far ahead, they have this luxury potential. 75 flat power is also really solid for Metyankey's Artemis. And when you're this far ahead, you have 5 items online at the 23-minute mark with Fire Giant buff. This is also a good power spike for him to be able to get these towers.
I mean, Meerkat doesn't even have Chin's finished just yet in his build, so you can see how far ahead Metyankey is. If you look at the gold difference between the two on paper, it's over 3,000. Over 3,000 gold, and that's why you can probably see this Bloodforge coming out. I don't think we'll see it every single game at Hunters unless they get themselves in this position. We may see it once or twice, though.
Looks like SoaR's looking to try to get the last remaining tier 2 tower for Randozos. We'll see just how successful this Phoenix Siege push is. They're really far ahead to the point where they could potentially dive this and not get punished for it. Janus, they're going to play it safe. Janus is going to push out mid, so they're going to want to push 2 lanes simultaneously and then figure out which side is weaker.
Keep an eye on Homiefe on that Thor as well, because he'll probably be initiator for this team. If he can find a good ult in between the two options of mid and right-hand side, we'll see if he goes for that one. Hurriwind, though, having a great game, showing off that new elemental Janus skin we've got in the game as well. As Phoenix is under pressure, the ball comes out from Yankee immediately, trying to create a zone, and that zone is going to force Skeeledon into a world of hurt on his own. He's going to try and get away through space and time, however, will delete him from Skeeledon on the mark. Whalrus with a good ultimate to try and keep them busy, but Thor already takes to this guy, going to crash back on his head. Hurriwind gets himself a double kill as the Phoenix falls in mid.
Did you see the patience out of Hurriwind during that engage? Just letting his team take the brunt down of that damage. And that's how you have to play Janus. You just have to stay in the back, throw out the thresholds for the movement speed, throw out that unstable vortexes that'll cover. Baskin going in. Aduro trying to stop the siege.
Well, it's going to be end of game 1 potentially here as the sun's rained down. Randozos going to hold for a moment, but the Titan is slowly being chipped away. It's below 3,000 health now, and this is going to be game 1, the way of SoaR. They come back after the new patch and go back to winning ways.
SoaR playing really lights out. I like the aggression out of Metyankey with the Artemis, the plink with the Janus, like peeling him back out with the portal. I like the synergy that SoaR has. After the last series that they had with Enemy, they recognized that Janus is very strong. Also, Aduro leaning more towards Janus as well. But however, the Raijin for Aduro instead of the Janus.
So game 1 goes the way of SoaR pretty convincingly. Anything different you want to see out of Randozos this game?
I would like to see either a Circuit for Skeeledon or a Mercury this game and see if he can find that early game snowball lead and then put a little bit of pressure onto Hurriwind.
Well,